What's up everyone? Welcome or welcome back to the Marketing Nomad YouTube channel. I am the Marketing Nomad. So just this weekend I was working on a couple of yearly routines that I do to prep me for the next year. And I thought, why not I actually share some of those routines with you in this week's videos. All right, so in today's video, we are going to be talking about my one-word prep for the new year. This is something that I have fine-tuned over the years and it works so well for me. And it's something that I probably will continue for the rest of my life because it's just that powerful in my opinion. So definitely, use this as a good starting point to see what works for you. So after years of fine-tuning this, something that I have understood is when I set intentions for the next year, when I have it as a sentence, more likely than not, I will forget about it. I will find it a little bit difficult to align with it, or it just starts to get even more complicated as the days go by into my new year. And oftentimes, whatever I resolve in the beginning of the year, I'm not able to sustain it, or I wasn't able to sustain it. And that's when this whole one-word prep thing came to my mind. So I kind of broke it down for, I think, a couple of years. I used a sentence, wasn't working out. I could feel my frustration growing within me. Then I cut it down to a phrase. Even that sort of worked, did not work. It was a kind of in 50-50 mind. And then I said, okay, why am I making this so complicated for myself? Why don't I just do a one-word prep for the new year? So that's how it has evolved, this entire process for me. And what I have found, at least in the last 4 years of doing this one word prep, it has worked so well. I'm able to focus. I am able to implement this one word prep. And so let's get a little bit deeper into what exactly is this one word prep. So in my process, what I do is I select one word that is going to be the theme of a particular area of my life for that particular year. All right, so you might catch me looking a little bit to my wall. That's because I have put all of my 9 areas of my life along with the respective word, the one word prep. I just did this over the weekend, so it's still fairly new. So you're gonna keep seeing me looking at it to kind of give you examples as well. All right. So previously, the area of my life and the word was on a yellow Post-it, and I removed all of them because we're kind of getting into the new year and I wanted to do a complete revamp of it. So now it's on green Post-its. All right. It looks so beautiful on my wall. I've been admiring it. But the purpose of this one word prep is that you kind of understand what you want your entire year to look like, feel like to you with respect to one particular area of your life. So the reason why I love the one word prep is because there might be many different ways of how you can align with how you want that year to go with respect to that particular aspect. So if you keep it as one sentence or a couple of sentences, I feel like you are narrowing down how differently you could align. And sometimes I feel like our conscious mind cannot perceive unlimited possibilities of how we could actually align. So for example, let's say, for my business area of my life, all right? Maybe I put a sentence of, I want to make sure that I keep everything into a proper process, or everything needs to have some kind of automation in that process, all right? And that is my sentence. Now, in my experience, all right, having that sentence, it's very difficult for me to keep focusing on that, given that I focus on 9 areas of my life. There are 9 things that I want to have kind of a holistic view on, and I want to keep working towards all of the areas, not just one area of my life. So having that sentence was it was kind of heavy on me, or I wasn't able to completely implement it, given that there were 8 other areas of my life that I wanted to focus on as well. So instead, what I did was I just took the word automated and I just put that as my word prep for that particular area of my life. And this is just an example. Automated was never a word for me, but this is just an example. So it became automated example. All right. So every time I would look at it, it's not just back-end processes, even automating my routine, my schedule, that also became something that I could include in that word. It wasn't something that I perceived at the beginning of the year. In my mind, it was just back-end processes. I wanted to make it as automated as possible, just so that it removes my involvement in that process, at least put my involvement to a minimum. All right. But there were so many other things that I could actually automate that was beyond the back-end processes. It was the way that I was showing up. It was maybe in figuring out a routine for myself with respect to setting up of videos or scripting, so on and so forth. So there, in my opinion, when I used one word to define how I want that entire year to look like with respect to one aspect of my life, I was encouraging many, many other possibilities that probably I could not have envisioned by myself through my conscious mind. And I let that, I just let that freedom kind of seep in when I put that one word. All right. So how you actually have to get started with this entire process is figure out the areas of your life. For me, I have 9 areas. I'm going to read them out from the wall. So the first area is my business, health, growth, finances, spiritual, environment, relationships, personal, and we have fun as well. All right, so these are 9 areas of my life. Now, what you're gonna do, you can use this as a starting point, but see which areas of your life that you have. So maybe for some of you, it might not be business, it might be career, so on and so forth. So make those shifts as you want, and you can really go crazy with the aspects of your life that you want. For me, 9 was something that I could manage, something that I keep looking every now and then, and it's something that I want to focus or give enough of my attention to all of these aspects. Maybe not at the same time, but I want a more holistic living, I guess I would say. All right, so that's why I have these 9 areas of my life. Now, go to each aspect of your life. All right, these are a few questions that you have to ask yourself to get that one word. First off, what happened in this year with respect to that particular aspect of your life? So you're kind of backtracking a little bit. You're kind of seeing what was the theme of the entire year that you focused on. Now, what is it that you either want to sustain or do you want to improve in that particular aspect of your life? What is one particular word that can encompass what you want to focus on for that particular aspect? So for some of you, maybe you want to sustain, all right? You want to sustain the success. For others of you, maybe you want to grow that aspect. Maybe you want to be a little bit more mindful about it. In being mindful, what exactly do you want to be mindful? So what is that one word that you will keep looking at throughout the entire year that will help you be more conscious about how you are showing up for that aspect of your life? All right. So I'll give you an example. For me, for the area of my life that is growth. All right. So in the past, this was many, many years ago, what would happen is every time there was a period of growth for me, I would resist it a lot. All right. Or I would invariably in some way be in my own way rather than allowing it to happen. So my word for 2026 with respect to growth is allow. Right? I am going to allow it to happen. I am going to do my best to resist the resistance that I probably in the past have built for or towards growth. And that could come in different forms. So growth doesn't necessarily have to be spiritual growth or personal growth. It could be business growth as well. It could be with respect to relationships as well. So the word that I have for growth is allow. All right, I will allow. So that could come in different ways. Maybe I reduce my resistance. Maybe I speak up more. Maybe I take a stand for myself more. Maybe I align with it a little bit sooner rather than much, much later after much of resistance. Maybe I stand still while the growth is happening. Instead of resisting or trying to do things in my way, I allow things to happen. So there are just so many different ways that I could go about growth. but the common word to encompass all of it is allow. All right. So I have found that when I use this one word prep for 2026, I find myself a little bit more intentional as I'm going about every single day of that particular year. Now, for example, the word for growth last year could have been sustained. So maybe I had grown quite a bit the previous year to that, and I wanted to sustain that. So there are different ways that you can go about it, but this year I feel it's important for me to allow. All right, so every year you're probably going to change. Sometimes the same word can repeat for the next year as well. There is no hard and fast rule with respect to this one word prep. It's just about reevaluating where you are at and where you want to be in the next year. For me, there was, I think, 2 years where I had many of the areas of my life have the same word continue into the next year because I felt like I needed that sustenance, or I needed to keep focusing on that alignment with respect to that particular word. So there's no hard and fast rule that you have to change it every year. But this year, I felt the strong urge to change all of it because there was a lot of substantial changes in my life in the last 12 months. And I felt that I had outgrown the words that I had used for my last year, and I'd held those words for about 2 years. Right? So this year, all the words are very different. But it's more aligned to where I feel I want to be at the end of 2026. So take some time to reflect on the version of you that you want to be at the end of 2026. What do they look like? What do they think like? How have they handled different aspects of their life? Or what would they call that particular aspect of their life a success? And at the end of 2026, like what should they have accomplished? But don't look at the accomplishment, look at how you need to align to be a version of yourself to accomplish those things. That's the difference. You're not listing out, I want this to happen or I want that to happen. No, you're listing out a word that helps you focus on the version of yourself that you need to show up so that you can accomplish whatever goals that you have for that particular aspect of your life, or for you to view that aspect of your life as a success in the year that you are focusing on. All right. So I did this for every single aspect of my life, 9 aspects that I have put. And so far it's been a couple of days. I did this over the weekend, so it's like been 3 days. That's the thing, it's something that I keep looking every now and then. And that by itself forms such a beautiful reminder. So I would highly recommend putting it in a place where you keep seeing, you keep looking, so that you can keep reminding yourself. Maybe sometimes you're not going to make the mark, but that's the beauty of it. You have to align to just one word in that one aspect. How you interpret it can be so, so different, and you're giving yourself that freedom. You're allowing that space to maybe stumble a little bit, but somehow make it closer to that word as time goes, right? So another aspect, let's take another one. For me, this year, I'm trying to see what I can share. All right, because these are personal for me. Like, this is a little bit more personal for me. So with the, let's say, environment, all right, environment is one of the aspects of my life. So for me, I want to align. That's the word that I have chosen for this year. Last year it was thrive. The word was thrive, and that was me kind of getting, or last 2 years it was thrive. So previous to that, I was in survival mode. So I wanted to kind of step into a thriving mode. So that was the intention that I'd set. So that went on for 2 years, and I felt that I had come to a good place with respect to thriving, with respect to creating an environment for myself that allows me to feel like I'm thriving rather than constantly being in survival mode. So for me now, the next step was to align with the environment that I'm in. It doesn't have to be physical environment. It could also be the places that I want to be in, the tables that have space for me, but I haven't really been there yet. How do I align with those places? Or even, the people that I wish to align with as well. So that's the growth that I see within myself. From thriving, I am now stepping into aligning. All right. So that is one area of my life that I feel, the last 2 years that I worked on Thrive was the word. It paid off. It paid off so well. And I wasn't like working on it every single minute of my life. No. But every time I was consciously thinking about it, that word was at the back of my mind. And that's why I feel like this entire one word prep has absolutely changed my life. This is something that I will do for the rest of my life. Maybe more areas of my life will come in, but this one word prep for every aspect of my life, this is something that I absolutely swear by, because especially when it is in a place that you can constantly keep looking at, you're training your mind, whether you know it consciously, whether you do it consciously or not, you're training your mind to align with that particular word for as long as it is there in front of you somewhere or the other for that particular aspect of your life. So sometimes you can keep it for a year, 2 years, sometimes 5 years. That really depends on you. There's no hard and fast rule. Sometimes after 6 months, you feel like, okay, you know what? I'm done with focusing on this. I feel good about this. It's become more of a reflex for me that I don't need a constant reminder on me. Then you shift to your next word that you want to focus on. So that's one more thing that I love about this, because until things become a reflex for you, you have to put in that intentional effort. You have to be conscious about including it in your life or focusing on that aspect of your life as well. So this helps you get to a point where it becomes a reflex. So for me today, environment thrive is a reflex. It took 2 years for me to feel that way about environment thrive, right? And the moment I started feeling like, yes, this is already there at the back of my mind, I don't need a constant reminder. Let's focus on the next thing I should work on, the next thing that I need to bring it into my life as a reflex. So this gives you that space and that time, and you're not putting any deadline. I'm not putting any deadline for this. I mean, yes, it's my one word prep for 2026, but if it wants to go into 2027 or 2028, whatever it is, I will allow that. I am not putting any restrictions on myself that by the end of 2026, this is the version of myself that I need to step into. No, I think that having this one word also gives you that flexibility and takes that pressure off of you to be one particular version of yourself, because I feel like it's important to factor the things that you cannot factor in your life, especially my life, the way that I see it, there are so many things that happen in that particular year that are so unexpected. I think that it will go one way and then it will go another way. And I think that it is very common for that to happen in, a lot of people's lives as well. So I think that it's important to factor the things that you cannot factor, which is I think the freedom that this one word alignment gives me as well. It accounts for things that I cannot perceive will happen in this year. It accounts for my own shortcomings that I might not even know. It accounts for my own strengths that I didn't even know that I had. It accounts for my evolution of the interpretation of that word as well, because December 2025 me interprets the same word differently than December 2026 me. And I'm allowing myself that space as well. I'm allowing myself to grow along with the year or along with the months. And I'm giving myself that space to interpret it differently throughout. Like, for example, this month I might interpret it differently. Next month I might interpret it differently. I'm giving myself that space rather than putting it on a timeline. So, like I said, for me, environment thrive, it took 2 years, and I could see the evolution in how I was incorporating it into my life. And that by itself, first off, it was such a joy for me to experience. It was so beautiful for me to see that happening live around me, like the changes that I was making in my life very, very intentionally to make the environment that I'm in, make it feel like I'm thriving rather than I'm in survival mode. It took time, yes. It took a lot of time and a lot of intentional effort. But today, I felt like, yes, I can move on from that. That has become now a reflex for me. Now I can step into maybe focusing on something else. And that's where the word align came in, all right? So now it's more like growing from that and keeping that there. That still runs in the background, but it's become more, I formed such a deep relationship with it over the years, like 2 years, right? For me, I formed such a deep relationship with it that it has now become an unconscious effort that I'm making. So now let's focus on something that I need to put in a conscious effort. I need to be a little bit more intentional about. So I absolutely swear by this process. All right, for you, you can take 6 areas, 9 areas, how many other areas of your life that you want to. That's completely on you, dependent on you. But find one word that is going to completely capture how you want to, or how you want that aspect of your life to go for that particular year, or how do you want to show up intentionally for that particular aspect of your life for the time period of your choosing. Yeah, I think that's a better way to put it, because I don't restrict it to 1 year. This year I felt like, yeah, I need to make that complete change. Last year I changed maybe 2 or 3, but most of it was the same from the previous year. But it's just a refresh that I did. But this year was all brand new. I even took a different post-it color. I even put it differently. You know, the way that I put it on my wall, I don't feel comfortable sharing it because some of it are very, very personal to me. But even the way that I order it, it's in the order of importance. So the ones that are very, very important, the aspects of my life that take up a lot of my attention and I need heavy focus on them, they're very, very important to me. They're at the top, then in the middle, then the bottom. All right, so there is also an order to that as well. So that's also important. So you can number it, you can figure it out, but I highly, highly recommend putting it in a place where you will see it often. So for some of you, it could be the back wallpaper of your desktop or your laptop. For some of you, it could be on your whiteboard. For me, it's personally, I love post-its. I love them. So I put them on a post-it and it's there and it's big, bold. I'm quite far. I'm about, I guess I would say about 10 feet away from the wall over here. And I can read it absolutely. It's very, very clear. It's that big. All right. So of course, I maximum the word, number of letters in the word maximum, I think is maybe 8. Yeah, 8. So it all fits in the post-it as well. But last year, one of it was intentional. So that was a very long word. And I had to like kind of make it smaller, but at the same time it fit. So yeah, the different words that you can think of, you know, you can even ask AI, ChatGPT. For me, I was able to come up with these words on my own, but if you're struggling with a word to completely encapsulate, yes, absolutely, definitely go to any AI tool, ask for one word to like kind of describe what you want, ask for one word to help you align with what you want or how you want to show up for that particular aspect of your life in the given time period of your choosing. All right. So yeah, this is a very, very beautiful routine. Like I said, I swear by this. This has absolutely changed my life ever since I've introduced this. This one word thing especially it's an absolute game changer for me, and I really hope that you can use this as a starting point to see how it can work for you as well. And yeah, if this video, kind of changed your mind about something, or you learned something new, or you've got like you're putting a twist on this, definitely let me know in the comment section below. If you liked this video, definitely do give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because that tells you every single time I do upload a YouTube video. And I'll catch you in my next one. Most likely it's going to be another one about another routine that I'm doing. I think I listed it down and I have 4 different routines. So I kind of want to share that with you one by one. All right. Okay, take care and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye-bye.